You canceled the plans again. Not because you don't care about the people who invited you, not because something went wrong. You canceled because you needed to breathe. And then, the second you put your phone down, the guilt hit you like a wave. Why can't I just be normal? Why do I always need to be alone? Here's what nobody ever told you. That need, that pull toward quiet, toward stillness, toward your own company, it isn't weakness. It isn't antisocial. It isn't something to fix. It's how your brain was built. And once you understand why, you'll never apologize for it again. Scientists have studied what happens inside the brain of someone who genuinely needs more alone time. And what they found completely flips everything society taught you. Your nervous system processes stimulation differently. When most people walk into a room full of noise and energy, their brain lights up with reward signals, dopamine, excitement, connection. But for you, that same room floods your sensory circuits with data. Every conversation, every sound, every face, all of it gets processed at a deeper level. You're not overwhelmed because you're weak. You're overwhelmed because you're running a more complex program. Elaine Aron, a researcher at Stony Brook University, discovered that roughly 20% of the human population has a nervous system that is fundamentally wired for depth. They notice more, they feel more, they process everything, including social interaction, more completely, which means they also need more recovery time. Alone time isn't laziness. For you, it's maintenance. Now, before you say, oh, this is just an introvert video, stop, because this goes beyond introversion. You can be an extrovert who still desperately craves solitude. You can love people, adore your friends, light up at parties, and still come home needing 3 hours of complete silence to feel human again. That's not a contradiction. That's called being a deep processor. The world was not designed for you. It was designed for people who refuel through constant connection. The open offices, the group chats, the social media feeds demanding your attention every 11 seconds, all of it assumes that more human contact equals more happiness. And for you, that equation was never true. You've probably spent years wondering what's wrong with you. But the real question is, what took so long for the world to realize what's right about you? Let's talk about what it actually feels like when your alone time gets stolen. It starts subtle, a sharpness in your tone that surprises even you. Then comes the mental fog, like your thoughts are moving through wet concrete. Decisions become impossible. Conversations feel like labor. Your patience runs so thin you can see through it. People around you might say you seem off or tired or distant, and you can feel it, but you can't explain it, because saying, "I need to be alone," sounds selfish in a language that glorifies togetherness. Here's the truth. The emotional exhaustion you feel isn't from giving too much, it's from receiving too much. Every interaction, even joyful ones, costs you neural energy that only solitude can replenish. When you don't protect that time, you don't just get tired, you start losing yourself. And a person who has lost access to themselves has nothing real left to give anyone else. What if I told you that the exact thing that makes social exhaustion hit you so hard is also your greatest strength? Because here's what deep processors also tend to be. Creative thinkers, problem solvers, the kind of listener who makes people feel genuinely heard, the kind of friend people call at 2 a.m. when everything falls apart. Your ability to sit in silence without distraction isn't a personality quirk, it's a cognitive skill most people can't build no matter how hard they try. In a world addicted to noise, you have the rare capacity to go inward, to think clearly, to feel fully, to create from a place of authentic depth rather than surface reaction. The alone time you need isn't pulling you away from your potential, it is where your potential lives. So how do you actually do this? How do you claim the quiet you need without burning bridges or feeling like a bad person? First, name it before you need it. Don't wait until you're running on empty to explain yourself. Tell the people who matter, I love spending time with you, and I also need quiet time to function well. It's not about you, it's just how I'm built. Second, schedule solitude the same way you'd schedule anything important. It doesn't need to be dramatic. Even 30 minutes of intentional quiet, no phone, no input, no performance, can recalibrate your entire nervous system. Third, stop justifying it. You don't owe anyone an explanation for knowing what your mind needs. Needing sleep isn't something you justify. Eating food isn't something you apologize for. Solitude is fuel. There's a version of you that exists only in the quiet, a version that thinks clearly, feels deeply, and shows up fully for yourself and for the people who matter to you. That version doesn't need to be fixed, it needs to be protected. So the next time you cancel the plans, or close the door, or choose the silence, don't apologize. Just remember, you're not running away from life, you're running to the part of it that keeps you whole. If this hit close to home, share it with someone who needs to hear it, and subscribe, because every week, this channel goes deeper into the psychology of people who feel everything a little more than the rest.